Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and I've got a quick little tutorial. This is what I call a tuck spot or an embellishment, and I'm going to show you how I made it using the supplies you see here. What I've got here is a journal card that happens to be from the Radiant Red Creative box, as well as the burlap, the button. This image is from the digital download for the Radiant Red Creative box. We have the Radiant Red Tattered Angels that comes in the box. Then I have some words that I have available in my shop, and we have the stamp pad, and this is game card that's in my shop. So let's get started. We're going to take this little journal card. Just so happens it's just a little bit larger than my stamp, which is perfect. So what I'm going to do is we're going to spray this with Tattered Angels. So I'm just laying this in a box. This is my spray box, and I just put usually scraps of paper or even copy paper, old book pages, whatever, that I can spray things on top of. And I've got the Tattered Angels Radiant Red, and what I'm going to do is shake this up really well to make sure that mica is up into the liquid, and then we're going to spray this journal card quite heavily to turn it this beautiful shimmery red. I'm going to use my heat tool to dry it, and then I'll be right back. I've got my Misty, and I'm going to remove the foam portion because we're dealing with a thicker stamp. This is a cushioned red rubber stamp. So I'm going to put the little journal card in the corner here and use the magnets to hold it in place. I'm going to take the little stamp and put it close to the upper edge because I can use this other paper for another project later on. I'm going to pick up the stamp, and then I'm going to ink it with the Brilliance Graphite Black. You could use any black ink that you may have. This is just one that I have because I have a re-inker for it. So I'm going to pick up the door and then close it and press down firmly. Let that ink transfer to the paper. What I like about using the Misty is if it doesn't have a super dark edge on it, I can go back in and add more ink and stamp again, and I don't have to worry about it messing up and not being positioned properly. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. I'll clean my stamp here in just a moment, but for now we're going to take this and trim it out. I'm going to use my Fisker scissors. Actually, what I'm going to do is hit it with my heat tool because this is an pigment ink and it could smear if I don't heat set it. Alright, so I just cleaned off my desk, and now I'm going to trim this out. I'm just going to use my Fisker's scissors and trim this out. And I'll save this because I have another project that I want to use this for later. Alright, now that I've got that trimmed out, I'm going to use black soot in my blending tool or distressing tool and add to the edge some black ink. I've got an image from the Calico Collage Radiant Red that's in my shop, so I'm going to use some distress ink. I've already fussy cut it out, but I'm going to go ahead and add some distress ink to this. Because I wanted multiples of this design, what I did with the digital file is I cropped out this image, and then I pasted it into my Silhouette software and sized it down to 1 inch, and then I duplicated it so that I could have multiples for the project that I'm working on today. And I think I want to adhere that over here on this side, so I'm just going to glue that down with some Aleene's tacky glue. And I've got a little piece of burlap here, so what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to cut it about that size. It's probably 1 inch, and maybe just a little bit over 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inches long, because I'm going to remove a couple of the strings from the sides, and that'll give it that neat kind of rough texture. I'm going to use some Aleene's tacky glue again and put a little bit of glue on the back side of this. And I'm going to adhere it down kind of at a diagonal. kind of press that into place. I've got a little button here that's part of the kit, and this is some of the string that comes in the kit as well. And here's what I thought would be kind of cute. You take the string and poke it through the button hole from the front, and then come back up from the back to the front. So your string's on the top side. And then I'm just going to tie a bow. So I'll tie a little knot, and then I'll tie a little bow here. Tighten up the little strings, and then I'll trim off the excess. And I don't want to adhere this down, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Scrap Perfect Best Glue Ever with the large writing cap. And what I like about this glue is you can put it on here and it gets really super sticky if you let it air dry a little bit. So I'm just going to put some right around the center there and let this air dry. Make sure I put the cap back on. Here's one that I did earlier, so you can see that it's starting to turn clear. And I find that if I mix glues, things stick better, especially when you're dealing with plastic. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the Aleene's Tacky Glue kind of out on the edges. And then we're going to adhere this down on top of this piece of burlap. So I think it should go probably right about here. And press it down. Then I have these little words that say, treasure this day. So I'm going to use the Black Soot Distress Ink. These are words that are in my shop. They're printed on white paper. So to cover up that white edge, I'm going to use my Distress Ink and blending tool to go right around the edges. And I'll use the No Clog tip on the Scrap Perfect glue and just make a little zigzag right on the back side. And I think I'm going to put this kind of at the top here, and then we'll put this day on here as well. Let's put it kind of down. Alright, so there is my quick little tuck spot that I made today. So I could glue this down and then be able to stick things behind it. I could put it in the corner and go at the side. I could put it at the top and glue things or put things underneath it this way. So here is one that I made, and here are a couple others that I made as well to kind of give you some ideas. These will be going into a journal, and I'll show how those are put together soon. I hope you enjoyed another little tutorial of using some supplies you probably already have, or picking up some from the kit that I shared today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Check the description box below for links to the products that I used. Make sure that you hit that notification bell at the top after you subscribe so you get notifications the next time I have a video. Remember, every Monday at 3:45 p.m. I'll be live Central Standard Time here on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and more. And of course, also check out my Facebook groups. Thank you so much, everybody. I greatly appreciate you watching. Thanks, and have a fabulous day with lots of love. Bye.